That's great. Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about the education resources that Water Safety Scotland have developed in collaboration with Education Scotland. So just what we're going to be looking at today, which is a background to the development of those water safety education resources in Scotland, including the strategic influence that led to their development. We'll look at where the water safety resources sit within the curriculum for excellence and the various resources that are now available. But essentially, there are two banks of resources. So one is a general water safety workshop that's aimed to be used with young people aged 14 plus, that can be delivered by anyone working with that age group, such as community teams within Police Scotland and Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, or really any community group. There's also an ice safety and alcohol and water safety workshop available for use with those groups that we hope will develop further knowledge around those subjects. And the other set of materials is that of the school resources, so the library of education resources that have been created to be used by teachers, as Sully touched on, right the way across the curriculum, so from nursery all the way up to S6. And we'll look at the all of those resources in some detail in a wee minute. So, as I'm sure most of us are aware, that's the average figure that Scotland's drowning prevention strategy showed, which is that 96 people on average lose their lives to drowning each year. And Scotland has got the highest rate of accidental drowning of all the UK nations. And the Water Safety Scotland Education Subgroup was tasked to address the educational targets of Scotland's drowning prevention strategy, which was specifically to drive a generational change to facilitate greater safety education and enjoyment in and around water. And through a range of core outputs, the aspiration is to provide better outcomes for communities and increase understanding of the dangers of water so that Scotland's waterways can be enjoyed safely. And again, Sully touched on some of these, but some of the reasons that Scotland specifically needs to address certain aspects is that we have got increased opportunities for access to water with the 30,000 lochs and the very extensive coastline that we have. Also, we have in the UK, the temperature of the water rarely gets above 15 degrees, which is colder in Scotland. And also that Land Reforms Scotland Act 2003 that Sully touched on, which does enable people to get out into the outdoors with much less restricted access than our UK neighbours. So work that informed the development of the National Water Safety Workshop was in a large part through the Fife Water Safety Group, which involved organisations and individuals, including Gillian Barclay, who sadly lost her son to drowning and has since then campaigned to raise awareness and reduce accidental drowning. So yeah, it was a real collaborative effort to get the ball rolling. So I'd just like to mention quickly that although the data does point to the age group 40 plus as the most likely to have a water-related fatality or serious incident, and we conducted a report last year which looked at specifically the under 25 age range between the years of 2017 to 2021, and that showed that the most common age range for accidental drowning amongst that group was 20 to 25, but the average age of an accidental drowning within the under 25s was 18 years. So we do view water safety education with children and young people as a vital element in reducing drownings, to improve knowledge, to enable them to make more informed and safer decisions when in and around water. Just a very quick, because this is quite a lengthy, wordy slide, but just to note that accidental drowning has been classified by the World Health Organization as the third leading cause of unintentional injury death worldwide. And I'd just like to quickly mention that to raise awareness and provide a platform for global advocacy of drowning prevention, the UN has designated the 25th of July World Drowning Prevention Day, and Water Safety Scotland, along with partners, uses this day to run a water safety open day with the primary intention of raising awareness of water safety, particularly among children and young people. So again, Sally alluded to this, following a spate of tragic drownings in July 2021, and in response to a more general movement towards drowning prevention, the Scottish Government gave support via Water Safety Scotland through investment and the release of the Water Safety Action Plan by the Minister for Community Safety in March 2022. So that release led to the development and implementation of water safety education within every stage of the curriculum for excellence, and address that key target of driving generational change to facilitate greater safety education and enjoyment in and around water. So where does water safety sit within the curriculum for excellence? So just a little bit of background to that. So Education Scotland is the national improvement agency for education in Scotland. And one of the functions of Education Scotland is to lead and support successful implementation of the Scottish curriculum. So Curriculum for Excellence is the national approach to learning and teaching for young people aged 3 to 18 in Scotland, and is underpinned by the values of wisdom, justice, compassion, and integrity. The curriculum, which has been implemented in schools since August 2010, is not statutory, and therefore is for teachers, head teachers and other practitioners to decide the development and implementation of the curriculum within an overall framework. So the water safety education resources sit within the health and well-being. Oh, am I still in the meeting? Yeah. Is that somebody wanting in? They sits within the health and well-being area of the curriculum for excellence. It is what's the word, appropriate that it would sit in that area of the curriculum for excellence. Specifically, an outcome of that health and well-being area of the curriculum is to enable learners to assess and manage risk and understand the impact of risk-taking behaviour, which ticks the box for water safety. So since March 2022 and the release of the Ministerial Water Safety Action Plan, there has been real progress in the momentum for water safety for the subgroup, the education subgroup within Water Safety Scotland, and also the development of the resources. So this slide shows the steps really in the process from inception to release of the resources. So the first step was planning. So as I said, we worked with Education Scotland and supported by the Scottish Government, and we're given the go-ahead really to develop a range of resources for all levels of the curriculum. And that provided a valuable opportunity to create meaningful, high-quality lessons which would help inform young people and start those conversations that enable critical thinking on risk, safety and welfare. The core messaging of the resources is the water safety code, and that's the golden thread that can be found throughout all of the resources. And the idea behind that was consistency, really. Consistency and familiarity, and hopefully retention of the information. If a pupil's been exposed to the same core message, you know, in primary 1 and then hears it again in primary 7, you know, there's that familiarity and hopefully retention. So step 2 was the development of the resources, which was the progression. It's called the progression pathway, and that maps out learning opportunities, keywords, questions, potential activities for each level. And that was really the hardest part to get right, as it informed then the development of each level resource and extension activities. And that involved reaching out to experts and stakeholders, most notably children and young people, who have played a critical role through focus groups in providing honest feedback on the resources. So liaising with experts such as Education Scotland, particularly around welfare considerations, and assistance from Water Safety Scotland partners was integral to creating the suite of resources, including videos, guidance for practitioners, extension activities, lesson plans and PowerPoint presentations. So the third stage is promotion of the resources, and really that's where you guys all come in, and it's key to the success of this. Liaising with teachers, promoting through Twinkle Scotland and partner social media accounts to signpost the resources. And finally, the next step will be evaluation of the resources. We want to know that they're being used, and crucially, what teachers and pupils think of the resources. The evaluation report is due to be published at the end of this year, and that will inform next steps or any changes that need to be made. So as mentioned, the Water Safety Code is a 3-step, easy to remember code, which has been applied to all levels of the water safety resources and the national workshop. So again, the consistency of message is incredibly important to reinforce core safety messaging. And we're very pleased to report that the Water Safety Code is also being incorporated into the school swimming lessons framework, meaning again, there'll be that consistency between classroom and practical learning. So a key part of the planning process I've mentioned already is the progression pathway, and that maps out water safety education from early level through to senior phase. And it's essentially the blueprint for the National Water Safety Workshop, as well as the various curriculum levels, as mentioned, and was created in collaboration with children and young people. Again, as mentioned, the core water safety education resources have been developed and implemented for every stage of the curriculum for excellence, from early level up to senior phase, which covers the ages of starts at age 3 all the way up to age 18. And each stage resource consists of a lesson plan, a PowerPoint presentation, and extension activities to support the core learning. These resources are freely available to teachers or anyone really on the Water Safety Scotland website and the Education Scotland National Improvement Hub. Again, as mentioned, the National Water Safety Workshop is designed to be used with young people aged 14 plus and can be delivered without the need for prior knowledge of the subject or a teaching background. So, for example, as I've already mentioned, the National Workshop can be used by community engagement officers within Police Scotland, and the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service can be used by youth groups. We were contacted just the other day about a Brownie leader wanting to use it. And it's just like a standalone, basically, water safety lesson within those school or community settings. And there's also, as I mentioned, an ice safety workshop, which I think Lisa is going to talk about in more detail, and an alcohol and water safety workshop. So we can be quite reactive in putting these workshops together. You know, we can be informed by the data, you know, to create sort of more specific lessons or messages to deliver. So, like I've mentioned, we also want to ensure that the resources are received well by teachers and pupils. So, yeah, there is a evaluation to be undertaken by students at Abertay University via qualitative interviewing, just to see really what people think about them, what can be improved, what worked well. We want to also ensure that non-mainstream learners can benefit from the important messages within the water safety resources, and we hope to develop these for use within non-mainstream educational settings. We are very proud to be the first and still only UK nation to have water safety education embedded into the national curriculum, and we hope that these resources can be used for years to come to improve skills and knowledge relating to water safety amongst our children and young people. And we hope that you can help us in that mission. So thank you very much for your time.